What's good, y'all? It is Havoc Punch and Profit. We are going to break down the trade we took yesterday. And what a week of trading. Over $6,000 made in funded accounts. Donald Trump won the election. Very excited about that. Happy for our country. We're going to get it back on track. And that was some of the major news that we had to deal with this week. Okay? And if you didn't fight against it and you recognized it, it could have played in your favor. You just had to hedge your bets, put yourself on the right side of the higher time frame narrative, and look for your signal there. But if you just were purely mechanical and purely robotic, you probably had a hard week of trading. Okay. No matter what strategy you had, if you were just very robotic and mechanical, that's why I disagree with some of these gurus out there. They tell you to be very robotic and mechanical, but they don't give you enough context with that. I think there's an advantage to being a human in day trading. I think as long as you develop the experience, you can use your intuition to your advantage, okay, with these news events that sometimes a robot can't take into consideration, right? So there's nothing wrong with using your intuition. I didn't say emotions. There's nothing wrong with using your intuition. And intuition should be developed through experience in real world circumstances. So let's break it down. I will be uploading the live execution today. It was from my phone, so it's not going to be, it probably won't be as detailed as it is on the desktop. But let's break it down. And I will get into the false signal. I don't want to call it a false signal because it could have worked out in your favor, but we'll just call it that for the sake of discussion to get things moving. The false signal here to the left. So we know the higher time frame narrative. We want to set ourselves. It's been going on all week. Why fight against buys? Or why fight against the market wanting to push up? Just go with it. Go with the flow, baby. Learn how to let go. And even if you make a mistake, accept it and don't try to force things. Go with the flow. All right. So higher time frame narrative, market pushing up. Okay, we're waiting for our buy signal. We get an inversion right here, as you see, bearish fair value gap overlapped by a bullish one. We get our advanced market structure shift right here above the yellow line. We close over it. Plenty of opportunities to enter in. I was driving. I didn't see it until it was right here. And or I saw it roughly around here and it dropped down. I said, we're probably not coming below this again. So I'm just going to take a chance and enter here and ride it up to the candle body high. So we get that advanced market structure shift. That's our entry. You could put a limit order there. It would have tapped back into that. Okay, you put your stop at the low because we got the advanced market structure shift. We're going to take 50 points, which it played out for from the advanced market structure shift. Right there, you got your 50 or more. Or you could have been safe and played the candle body higher. Why would I have played it safe? For me personally, it's Friday. We started out the session just very choppy, and that can be typical of a lot of Fridays. And for me, I want to have a good weekend. I don't want to be mad at my kids. I don't want to be mad at my girl. So see profit, take profit. Right here was guaranteed profit for me. I wasn't going to fight it. Made hundreds of dollars on multiple funded accounts. There was no reason for me to sit through this. And look, it did take the high, but it did come back down. That can mess with you psychologically if your entry's right here. And then you're second guessing and you get out of the trade and then then you try to have revenge trade and everything turns into a mess, right? So that's why I took profit at the candle body high. I always play it safe. It's easy to compound multiple accounts and take modest take profits than trying to get big victories, even though it would have worked out in your favor. So, or you can do the whole I take profit, okay, secure some profit right here and let a partial just run as long as it's going to run. Okay, so that was the A plus setup, and it actually was a nice A plus setup. You just had to be patient and not overthink and not fight against the higher time frame narrative. But let's address the sell signal we got over here. Now, yes, you got a nice sell signal. We printed at the 9:30 opening this bullish fair value gap right here. That's the first fair value gap we print after 9:30. We go up. We eventually close below it. Okay, and it looks like we have at the 9:30 opening, we create this bullish fair value gap. We have a market structure shift right here, and you have these equal highs, and you're thinking, man, this market probably is going to push up immediately. And I always say this, you could be right, and which it does. Look, it does. It gets those equal highs. But you have to remember in price action, you could be right about your assessment, but always be humble to the timing of it all. It's like boxing. You can be fast, you can be strong, you can be a knockout puncher, all the above, right? Have good reaction, but if you do not have good timing when you get to the higher level, you're going to it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how much power you have. It doesn't matter how fast you are. If you have terrible timing, you're not going to land your punches. And you could have been right in your initial assessment at the 930 opening. Okay, we print a bullish fair value gap. Okay, yes, we closed under it, but it wasn't inverted with a bearish one, right? We have these equal highs. You know what? I think it's going up there. You weren't wrong, but you would have had to sit through some bullshit, right? And then you would have had to trust that it was ultimately going to make that move. If you put your stop at the low right here, you'd have been just fine, barely, right? It comes back down. You would have had to deal with this drawdown, which would have been no big deal, right? If you didn't over leverage. And you could have even built a nice little position right here. But you really would have had to trust that the market was going, your stop was going to hold and, be patient and hold through all this chop. So that was a possible setup. I don't really play the 930 opening. I'll probably be experimenting with that a little bit more, because if you want to catch those big 200 point moves, 150 point moves, then usually you have to set yourself up in the morning. Not all the time. There's some other setups throughout the day, but typically speaking, the biggest moves happen between 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. And if you want to set yourself up nicely, you should probably be taking a trade within the first 15 minutes. But that is for experienced people who know what the hell they're doing, right? So that wasn't the first signal. The first signal was roughly around like 9, pretty much at the silver bullet hour, right? It was a nice signal, okay? Because what happens is we come back up and we create this bullish fair value gap in this green Gann box, and then we create this bearish fair value gap that overlaps it right here. Okay, so you have an inversion. Okay, you have an advanced market structure shift. You actually did have a higher time frame confluence in which we took the prior day's high roughly around here. So it's somewhat indicating an A plus setup. The only thing is, remember, higher time frame narrative this week. Market moving up, pushing up. Donald Trump wins the election. Okay, you got to take that into consideration. And say you got your entry right here, you got it filled. This is why I say, if you're going to trade against higher time frame narrative, for whatever reason that may be, you take your 15 points. And guess what? You would have gotten your 15 points. You play it safe and take your 15 points. That's all. I don't care about the risk to reward. Take your 15 points and get out. 15 points when you get your signal is almost always guaranteed. If y'all just purely want to play real high percentage, winning most of the time, not concerning a risk to reward, take 15 points. And it may not even be 15 points, right? But when it hits 15 points from the advanced market structure shift, you get the hell out, and that's it. And you would have been fine, right? You could have retraced multiple times and gotten your 15 right here, or you could have gotten break even. Now, when you get really advanced, what you can do is, if we're not moving to the low, we're not even hitting the lows right after this A plus setup, that should be a sign, oh, we're consolidating. We're consolidating, and eventually it's going to make a move. It's going to tap roughly 1, 2, 3 times up and 3 times down. 1, 2, 3 times down, and then a move's going to be made. And if you're holding this trade from this setup, from this sell, I want you to understand you have the clock running against you, depending on where the higher time frame's going. Now, if it's going in your favor, say you took this buy signal and you didn't over leverage and you're just holding it and you got your stop down here, okay, you could have held through all this and you would have made a killing, right? But if you took this sell signal going against the higher time frame narrative, the clock is against you. I don't want you to panic And I don't want you to freak out because it's pulling back, because there's plenty of opportunities for you to build a position and even get a nice little chunk of change. Okay, so you come down here, you don't even take these lows. Okay, you're not moving towards 50 points. You're dealing with this retracement. That's not necessarily a sign that it's not going to go for 50 points, right? But it's a beware. As soon as we touch over this inversion, bearish inversion, that should be the sign, okay, this is probably not going to work out. How do I get out of this trade? Either I cut bait with it and just accept the loss and look for a signal going in the direction I need to go and recover all my money, just put two more micros on the line, right? Or what I can do is say, okay, I want to break even. As soon as this thing gets back down here, I'm breaking even. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to build a position, right? And I'm going to try to get my entry a little bit higher so when we dip back down, I can get a profit or break even. Or you can even just sit on your hands and wait till you dip below, you get a profit, right? Like I said, if it hits 15 points, it's most likely, and we're consolidating, it's most likely going to come back down for 15 points. So if I go from the advanced market structure shift, look right here, you get another opportunity to get your 15 points. You would have had to sit through this BS, but you would have gotten your 15 points. But what you can do is if you see this inversion, it comes all the way into it, that's an indication the trade's not going for 50 points. But what you can do, you can take another sell up here. You could have taken a sell at consequent encroachment, taken a sell at the top of the gap, build some more of your position, raise your entry, and you would have got a nice chunk of change if you said, I'm out at 15 points or I'm out as soon as I break even, right? And as soon as you see this inversion, that's when, in this advanced market structure shift, you should abandon this idea altogether. If you waited too long for that to happen, you should have abandoned this idea altogether. Okay, this should have been dead to you. As soon as you saw this, you don't want to be in a sell. Okay, so you had all this time from like 10 to, you had an hour to break even or even come out with a profit. So don't freak out. You got your sell signal. It's not necessarily wrong unless you're too stubborn and you're aiming for your 50 points. Just understand, always go back and reframe your mind. Okay, this trade's not moving where I want it to go. So, how do I break even or get a small little profit? I'm going to aim for 15 points. And as soon as we get below, don't be in hopes that it's going to go to 50 points. Just aim for it. On top of that, it's a Friday. Fridays are synonymous for being choppy sometimes. See profit, take profit. And that's even right here. Even though I had a beautiful setup to the upside, it was Friday to me. I ain't trying to be mad at my girl. I ain't trying to be mad at my kids. See profit, take profit. As soon as we hit this candle body high. Why do I take the candle body high? Because sometimes we'll bounce at the candle body high and come back down one more time, which is no big deal. If I'm in the direction of the higher time frame trend, it'll eventually go back up. But I don't like sitting through that. I don't like sitting through stuff like that because that can mess with your psychology. Okay, and you can start doing stupid things. That's why I like to take my profits off the board. Or if you're somebody who likes to do the partial thing, that's what you can do. You can take profit at the candle body high, let it, and look at this. Even though you did take the high right here, look what happens. We come back down, and some people will freak out here if they have an entry. Oh my God, I'm going to lose all my money. Oh, it's going to go against me. Oh, we're going down now. And they abandon the trade, and then they miss out on all this. So that's why I take my profit at the candle body high. I get done with it. It's Friday, hundreds of dollars, funded account. No muss, no fuss. I'm happy. Great week of trading. So yeah, the signals are there. You guys, you can't be so rigid in your thinking. You're gonna have to adapt and adjust. That's just the way it is, and that's why you can sit there and give everybody the perfect A plus strategy, and they're still not going to be profitable because there's so many other factors, and that's if you want to know somewhat of the secret, that's it. And it's not even a secret. It's hard work, it's dedication, it's commitment, it's constantly studying the charts, it's constantly getting experience to develop that intuition of how to execute a strategy because there's no perfect strategy. It's you just developing the experience and utilizing that strategy and understanding how to implement it in the conditions that are presented towards you, with constantly changing factors. And for me, I trust these signals, but I also have to develop the experience in which I know how to implement them to where at the end of the day, I'll come out with a profit. That's so important to understand. And how do you gain that intuition? How do you know when to let go of a trade or when to get in and get out? And how do you know? It's through experience. There's no other way around it. That's why I laugh at some of these people who say, "Oh, just sit there and paper trade till you perfect everything." Bullshit. Get some live money in the markets. I'm not saying you can't do it that way and have success, because there's not a one size shoe that fits all. But what I'm telling you right now is get some money in the market. You don't have to put $10,000 in your own personal account. Go with Apex's shitty fucking firm, and put down when they have their little sale for $15. Put $15 into a 25 50K account, whatever they do over there, and just at least you'll feel like something is on the line. And it really doesn't matter if they pay you or not. You just want that experience to feel you're putting something on the line. You're trading in the live markets, and that's going to get you the experience. And it's really hard to blow out a count if you're not over leveraging. It's easy, but it's also hard. It's easy in the sense that if we let our gambling intuition take over our degenerative behavior, it's easy to blow out an account. If you take a very practical, intelligent approach with self control and discipline, it's actually pretty hard to blow out an account if you're managing the risk well. Um, let's see. So we go up. Let's see if there's any sell signals up here. And not really. There's not one right here. Hmm. Somewhat of another buy signal up here, and you get an advanced market structure shift. You could have taken profit. Let's see how much you would have got if you went from that advanced market structure shift. Not worth it. Not really worth 12 points, but if you wanted to, you could have. We had this move down here, roughly around like 230 to 3. Let's see if there's any sell signal. Not really any good sell signals. No inversion. Not really an advanced market structure shift complementing it. So nothing really to the downside. Your big opportunity was right here. This was the nice A plus setup, and it was an A plus setup. You'd have taken little to no drawdown if you entered right here, and if you were bold, you could have entered at the inversion. Um, that would have been a hell of a nice trade because you'd have taken no drawdown. It just would have been a matter of how you entered. But this would have been your entry, and if you extend it out, you would have taken no drawdown, and you'd have been able to ride it, even if you were stubborn and didn't let go at some point. You still made a nice chunk of change. So that was the setup for the day. You did have this sell signal. I don't like to call this false because you still could have pulled off 25 points. 25 points. I always say if things aren't playing out in your favor, you get the perfect sell signal. You took prior day's high, you got the inversion, you got the advanced market structure shift, and the market's not moving to 50 points. You're just still not out of the ball game. You just wait for the pullback. You can even build your position as it's coming back to constant encroachment. Okay, I add another micro. Okay, it fills the gap. Now I really know this trade is a no go for 50, but I'm gonna try to get my 15 points. Okay, I add another micro right here. Your entry moves up. You're adding to what's so far a loser, and then look at this. You have this big move back down. You could have broke even because your entry would have been up a little bit more. You could have broke even, or you could have taken a little bit of a profit. And essentially, you probably would have made the same if you built your position at 50 points, right? Building into this position for like 10 points. That's the cool thing. And this is why I try to revamp the strategy when the signal's not going in my favor. Now, once again, you could have freaked out. This is where most people are freaked out. But I'll tell you this, you can, if it hit 15 points and you got the perfect signals and you went by that, most likely it's going to start chopping, but it will come back down 15 points, which it did here. 15 points right there. Barely did, but it did. And imagine if you were building into this position, you would have made a nice chunk of change. You would have gotten out. This sell signal, okay, or this buy signal pops up. That is when you know, okay, I don't want to be in a sell anymore. I need to cut my ties with this, whether it's break even, small profit, or a little bit of a loss. I am out because boom, right here, I know the major news of the week. It's getting ready to take off, right? So there's ways you can work around even when you don't get the A plus setup that plays out in your favor, right? There was a few signs that it wasn't going to do that. If it's not moving with speed and there's lots of high resistance, that's when you don't freak out and say, oh, I need to get out of this trade. What you just simply tell yourself is like, okay, we're consolidating, we're ranging. I'm going to take some drawdown. It's okay. Maybe I can have an opportunity to build into a position and then boom, take some profit. We will be experimenting more with the 9:30 opening, especially when you had this actually wasn't a bad setup right here. But like I said, you can be right in your assessment of the market, but it's all about timing and understanding when. And you can eliminate a lot of the timing issues if you're not over leveraged. Uh, you could have entered here. There's a bullish fair value gap that closed on this market structure shift. Um, Equal highs. Put your stop over here at the low, or I'm sorry, below the wicks. You put your stop right there. Yeah, you would have eaten a lot if you weren't over leveraged. No big deal. It's going to do this bullshit. And then boom, you play for the equal highs. That's it's a 50 point move. Nice. And you could have held longer. Yeah. So that could have worked out, but I don't really teach that, but I will be experimenting with it. This is Havoc, Punch and Profit. Have a blessed weekend. I'll see y'all next week. Let's get this money, y'all. Peace.